Hi everyone and welcome to my video on instantaneous rates of change. My name's Darren from Maffs Guru. Lovely to see you, and you're going to go where? And I'm going to go my little corner of the interweb over here, Maffs Guru. Yes, very funny in 2013, not so easy to spell. What am I doing? I'm doing videos for the Mathematical Methods Units 1 and 2 course here in Australia, but bearing in mind this is universal. Mathematics is universal. If you're doing A-levels or GCSEs or any other course around the globe, this will be relevant, I promise you, and it's leading into even more excitement for calculus. Now behind me you'll see our learning objectives, and all of these are downloadable again from mathsguru.com. Yes, downloadable. All you got to do is go there and sign up. Absolutely free to sign up. There are downloadable lesson notes, there are videos all in sequence mapped against textbooks over here in Australia and easy to find around the world. There are VCEE exam questions and so much more. So hopefully head over there, tell your mates if you're enjoying this particular series of videos. What is our learning objectives for today? Understand what it means to be an instantaneous rate of change and know how to find the instantaneous rate of change using the tangent line at a point. Okay, right, now if we recap, this is the fourth video of a particular series, and everything we've been dealing with has said gradient, 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 and gradient again. We need to be able to find gradients. When we've had a nice straight line, it's been really easy to find the gradient, yes, because you find your 2 points, and then you draw your right angle triangle, or you do your rise over run, and there are so many different ways of finding the formulas, because you've got that the gradient is rise over run, and then there's another one that we introduced that we had m was y2 minus y1 on x2 minus x1, which basically is exactly the same as rise over run, but now we're just throwing in coordinates. So, you know, if you're having a coordinate here and you've got a coordinate here, you can use different formulas and it all just gets very confusing, doesn't it? Yes, well, that's the whole point of methods, to try and confuse you. But trying to find gradients of curves, a little bit more complicated. Well, it might seem so at the moment, but when I get on to the next series of videos for the next chapter of work, then you're actually going to work out there's a rule you can use that makes life so much easier. One of the most important things we can work out here is actually that there has a gradient of, if we just tap it there, 0, absolutely, because if we were to actually draw a tangent, and this is really important, if I was to draw a tangent at the very top of that line, remember a tangent only touches the point in one place, right? It'll only touch that curve in one place, and then we can draw a tangent to it, then we can find out the gradient is equal to 0 at that maximum. And likewise here, if we draw it at the minimum, let's say that's at the minimum, we would find out our gradient is equal to 0. Lovely, and that becomes massively important throughout the rest of the course. How do we find a gradient at that point there? Well, exactly the same way. You draw a tangent, which is just a straight line that touches that in one place. And once we've got that, all I would need is theoretically 2 points on that line, join those 2 points together, do rise over run. But that becomes pretty tedious after a while. Yes, absolutely, because how on earth are you going to find the gradient at all of these points? More importantly, how on earth are you going to be able to draw that line perfectly such that it is at a tangent? Because you only have to be 1 degree off, and suddenly you're going to get a very different gradient. Right, now we learned in a previous lesson that actually there are things called chords and secants, and let's just draw a secant at this moment in time, chord. Now what I'm going to do at the moment is I'm going to use the point 1, 1 as a reference point. That becomes important a little bit later on. But if I was to join that point there with, say, that point there with a perfectly straight line, that is a chord. As soon as I take that line and I extend it out, and again, it could still theoretically pass through those points, assuming that line there goes off to infinity and beyond, then that's actually a secant. Very exciting, yes? Now, what you notice about this secant is that, yes, it's going to go through 1, 1, and at this particular instance, it's going to go through 2, 4. Lovely. As I say here, this is the graph of y equals x squared. I've just super zoomed in on a section. Yes? So when I draw that particular secant, can I find the gradient of it? Well, yes, because we've got 2 points. I can do my vertical line there, and I can do a horizontal line there, and I know that my rise on my run will give me the gradient of that secant. Happy with that? Okay. Well, here's an interesting question, because let's delete that if I can. So let's delete, he says, drawing a highlighter. Let's delete those. I'm now going to take this line here. Let's delete that line. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to try and draw another line, again, through 1, 1, but then actually getting a bit closer to the point 1, 1. All right, so through 1, 1, but getting a bit closer. So what I'm now doing is if I could find that point there, if I could find that exact intercept there, then again, I could draw my right angle triangle and I could find my gradient, yes, of that secant. Well, guess what? I'm going to delete all those dotted lines and then I'm going to see if this is going to let me. Yes, it is. And what happens if I actually move it a little bit closer? I can find my gradient of my secant and I could move it a little bit closer. And you're going to turn around and say, well, that seems to be getting really, really narrow. How on earth am I going to find the gradient of that? Well, first things first, that's not actually going through 1, 1. This is actually going to become quite hard to do. But what we're trying to show here is, he says, trying to get rid of all of this, and let's delete that line there, is if I keep my reference point at 1, 1, if I keep that as 1, 1, and I keep drawing secants through points that get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to that point, if we imagine that I have 2 points here, really close together, that I draw a straight line through, then I'm almost going to be at a tangent. But a tangent to where? Well, a tangent to that point there. Well, okay, I could take that point even closer and closer and closer. And as I move this point down the line, getting closer and closer and closer, finding the gradients of the secants that I'm connecting to all of those points, believe it or not, I'm going to get to something pretty special. And that is, I'm eventually going to get so close to that dot at 1, 1, that for all intents and purposes, I'm going to have the gradient of the tangent of that line. And that's really the theory behind what we're going to do here. Now, again, what's important is, as I said earlier, there are lots of ways of finding the gradient, yes? When you were in year 9, we did rise over run. Not riser, we did rise